All right, y'all. This week's episode, we're talking about something that we've all felt and has affected us in some way, shape, or form. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Unlimited Podcast, where we help you maximize your creativity. I'm Izzy Lemons. Let's get into it. Musicians, artists, producers, all musical creatives, welcome to the Unlimited Podcast. Like I just said, where we help you maximize your creativity. I'm Izzy Lemons, and if it's your first time watching or listening in, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the Unlimited family. I promise you, it's not going to feel like a waste of time. You're going to leave here with some great wisdom and some pretty great gems for your creative journey. If it's not your first time, I want to say welcome back. Thank you so much for constantly and consistently tuning in, whichever word you prefer. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Your consistent support helps us push this mission and this vision forward. So it means a lot. For all you first timers, as a brief introduction, my name is Izzy Lemons, and I've been a musician and producer for over 14 years. But I reached a point in my life where everything came crashing down because I didn't know who I was or what I was created to do. But now I run this thing called Unlimited Artistry, where we help you maximize your creative potential by helping you understand your purpose, uncover your creative identity, and uncap your creative potential. We do all of this to reach a state of unlimited artistry, you get it, which is using our creative gifts in the way that they were intended. So if you're ready to start on that journey, stay tuned in and we're going to jump right into it. Y'all, one of the ways that I love to help musicians and producers and musical creatives to maximize their creativity is by teaching new things. Y'all, I'm a teacher just at heart. It's the God honest truth. I think it's in my blood, but I love to teach new things to different people. And so I've developed this space called the Unlimited Lab, and it's available on the YouTube channel, where I like to share the tools, tips, and tricks that I'm using in my production processes and the things that I'm doing to create music to stay creative. So if that's something that interests you, please visit the YouTube. The link is in the description of this episode. Check it out. Go learn something new. I think that's a great way to stay inspired. All right, y'all. This week's episode, we're talking about something that we've all felt and has affected us in some way, shape, or form. Some of us feel this constantly, and some of us have let this take over our lives, our creativity. What am I talking about? I'm talking about discouragement. Y'all, dealing with discouragement can be extremely hard. Like, it's a strong emotion. And it can honestly derail you from your entire purpose if you let it. It can overpower you if you let it. It can give you a false perception of reality if you let it. And it can have you hyper-focusing on the bad if you let it. Are you noticing a pattern here? Look, discouragement is just a feeling, though. It's just a feeling. And you can have power over that feeling if you choose to. So this week, we're talking through 3 ways to beat discouragement. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm just freshly coming out of a place of feeling discouraged, which we'll get into. But I'm talking to y'all, and I'm talking to myself. So Let's go through this together. Let's power through. Let's take control over the feeling of discouragement and push forward. All right, y'all. 3 ways to beat discouragement. All 3 of these ways work together. You can't have one without the other 2. They all work together. You need all 3. So the first one is to recognize. It's crucial when you're dealing with discouragement to remember and recognize that you were built with the passion and the gifting to be where you are. I find most often as musical creatives, the thing that leads to discouragement is taking a step into something or trying something new, or even not executing what we typically do as well. And then we just let it take over the rest of our minds, the rest of our hearts. And that's a sad case. Like, I'll be honest, I've felt defeat even more recently. Like, things I've done and the plans that I've had didn't fully come out the way that I planned or expected. Like, that's a feeling that hurts. Like, you put your all into something and it doesn't land the way you want it to land. And I think often, and this is a part of our issue as musical creatives, we let the things that we create determine our identity. Where our identity, like the things that we create, are just a small piece, like a glimpse into who we are, our identity. And this is a part of the reason why I press so heavily into understanding your creative identity, because you have to separate the two, your identity and your creative identity. But I don't want to get sidetracked. But it's important to recognize that you were built for this. Yes, you may have experienced some disappointment, but it's okay. Like, that doesn't throw away everything else that you've accomplished. I was just watching this video not too long ago of the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. But it's a video. It's like 2 to 5 minutes of all these dunks that Michael Jordan missed. It's a lot. It's a lot more than you would expect. I wasn't alive at the time, like when he was actually like playing ball at his highest level, but it's like you almost can't even imagine that. But he's missing all these dunks. Over the years, what happened? Like, he didn't quit because he missed a dunk or like 12. It was a lot, y'all. But he didn't quit because he missed a few times. But those misses actually propelled him into spending massive amounts of time in practice. And he played those practices like they were games. I'm going to link the video below in the description. Like, I think it's really cool to watch. Like, one of the greatest athletes of all time. Like, he had his moments. He had some moments where he didn't make it. He didn't make every shot. That's not what makes somebody great, though. That's a good point. We're going to come back to that. Yeah, we're going to come back to that. You may be discouraged right now, but I need you to remember that this is not the end. Don't get stuck. Don't get caught up in your discouragement and your disappointment. Look, maybe you had an opportunity to perform. Maybe you had an audition and your beats didn't get placed. Maybe they said no to your face. Yes, it hurts. It sucks. Feel it just for the moment, but I need you to get back into the gym. That moment may have hurt you, but in the face of discouragement, you can either take that and use it as fuel or use it as an excuse to sit back down. So what are you going to choose? Something that helps me through discouragement is learning something new, learning a new skill, learning a new technique in production, learning a new genre, like when it comes to guitar. There was a point where I was making beats and sending them out for placements and none of them were landing. Like, and it felt like, dang, do I still have it? Like, am I losing it? Like, do I suck? And, you know, a part of the answer is yes, like you have to grow. Maybe don't say that you suck, but like you have to grow beyond your comfortability. But a thing that helps me grow is when I learn something new, when I add a new technique to my productions. Studio One, I'm a Studio One user. There are a few different ways that you can use Studio One kind of like FL Studio, and that'll change the sound of your beats. That's something that I've been getting into, and I'm going to make a video on it soon at some point. But I think like when you learn something new, it helps to kind of take your brain to a different place. It on this straight and narrow road, it kind of lets you take like a left, like you hop off the exit. I don't know. I'm trying to riff here with you. But it's important to learn something new to help you remain inspired. That's why we have the Unlimited Lab, because those are the things that help kind of push you forward. And when you realize, oh, here's a different way to do this, it takes your mind to a different point. You can grow and be better, but you have to do the work. Y'all know I read my Bible. So there's this verse that I want to read to you. It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9. And it says, "We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed." Look, all this entire point is to let you know you have to recognize that, yes, you've experienced a moment where you may have been struck down, where you may have been afflicted, where you may have been perplexed, but you can't let that take you out. Recognize that it's in you. You have it. Don't quit. Recognize that it's just a moment of discouragement. Okay, cool. I feel my feelings. Let's push forward. That's half the battle. I also want to remind you that in these low moments, we receive wisdom, growth, ideas, all that kind of stuff. Like, these are those moments, like in the valley, where we take all that in, and that's what pushes us up. So the first way to beat discouragement is to recognize you were built with the passion and the gifting. The second way to beat discouragement is to see. What do I mean by that? Discouragement has its interesting way of having us hyper focus on the bad, on the negative. I've said this in a podcast episode a few weeks ago. When our minds are focused on the negative, on what we're not able to do, we start to move in that direction. The same way that if you're driving and maybe you see a car you like on your left side, you're going to start to drift over to your left. Our brains, our bodies follow our brains. So the way that we think will push us in a specific direction. So it's important not to just stare at what is discouraging to us, but stare at what is encouraging to us. What is the root word in discourage and encourage? It's courage. In order for us to come out of discouragement, we need courage. We need boldness. I have another Bible verse, Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. It says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And so I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into this verse. So I wanted to zoom in on the word dismayed. If you don't know, the Bible was originally written, the Old Testament originally written in Hebrew, and the New Testament written in Greek. So when you go through, there are certain translations that translate the words a little bit differently. So I wanted to zoom in on the original meaning of dismayed. And what I found, it was a Hebrew word. The book of Isaiah is in the Old Testament, so it's Hebrew. The word is, and I'm probably butchering this, but sha'ah. And to dismay means to gaze about in anxiety or to bewilder. So when we're discouraged, we are gazing or bewildered by this negative aspect that we've allowed to grow into something huge. And this verse is telling us not to be dismayed, not to be scared. What is discouragement? It's lack of courage. We are fear. Like there's fear in us. There's fear. I want to point to something else about discouragement. And this is something that I've learned in marriage. And if you're married, apply this too. This will help you out. Disappointment, all disappointment is unmet expectation. When we're discouraged, that can often be paired with disappointment, which means that there is an unmet expectation that we placed on ourselves. For me, I've expected certain moves and things that I've released and done, and things that I've planned that didn't meet my expectations. And that sucks. That hurts. I talked about it in the first point. But we can't stare at that. I'm thankful to be surrounded by people that can constantly show me, hey, what I want, the lifestyle that I want to live, what I want to do with music, it's possible. It's possible. You just have to stick to it. Sometimes it requires managing our expectations so that we can kind of, swerve disappointment. But the truth is, unmet expectation is what leads to disappointment, discouragement. Hey, music producer, musician, artist, I need you to be gentle with you. I think you might be a little bit hard on yourself. If you're here listening to this episode, you must have found that you felt this way before. And I know for myself, when I'm discouraged, when I'm disappointed, I point the finger at me. And I'm ready to fight myself. I can be hard on myself sometimes, but that's not fruitful all the time. It's not productive. Yes, make necessary changes, grow, be disciplined, but you can't whip yourself back into shape. It's not going to work. A part of what's going to get you out and help you see beyond this current disappointment, discouragement, is getting around people and places that will encourage you. I'm thankful to be surrounded by musicians and producers and engineers that are just showing me every single day that this is possible. You just got to stick it out through the hard times. I was at a studio session just yesterday with some of my homies for a record that I'm playing on, which sounds amazing. Produced by one of my leaders, Sean Walters, amazing board player. And it was me on guitar, Chris Carroll on drums, and Armani Whitfield on bass. My brother, he was a guest on here at some point. But we were just at this studio that is known. It's called the Wall Factory, run by Jay Wallace. He's amazing. He's got amazing equipment. He's just great at what he does. And we're sitting there and we're talking just through just his history, where he's come from, different seasons in his career. And I've been able to see and watch because he's been around for a while, and just sitting in there and seeing and, recording in that space and just being present. It was extremely encouraging, to see even through, the thing that we went through 2 years ago. I don't know if this video will be affected if I actually say the word, but we was on lockdown for 2 years. Even through that, there was still progress made, and he was still growing. The same for like the musicians that mentor me. Like, that's what they do. It's possible. It's possible. You just have to, in reading this, the 12 Notes on Music and Life by Quincy Jones, one of the things that he said is you have to go to know. And he was referencing traveling the world to have an understanding of culture, and to expand your tastes and to expand your palate. I believe the same thing applies to our creativity, to like with the goals that we have. Like, you have to see people that are doing it, that show you like this can be a real thing. This can be yours. It's great. It's super helpful if they can be open about the path that they took, and how they got there and the different struggles that they went through. But at the very least, you need to find people that show you like this can be a real thing. You can do this. Like, just don't quit. It's super important to find living and breathing examples that say it's possible. So the second way to beat discouragement is to see. Look at what can work, not what isn't working. So the last one that we're going to talk about today, the third way to beat discouragement, is to believe. Y'all, I'm going to keep it a whole stack with you. And as Steven Jackson would say, I'm going to keep it funky. Y'all, faith is the only way out of discouragement. Mic drop. I can't drop this mic. But y'all, faith is the bridge between, in this context, is the bridge between faith is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be in this context when it comes to discouragement. Now, yes, faith is hard. Like, real faith is hard to have because you have to believe it before you see it. And, faith is a powerful thing. Faith is a powerful thing. I have faith in Jesus, and Jesus is who keeps me pushing forward, who keeps me strengthened, who constantly gives me the ideas that I need and allows me to show up the right way for every opportunity. The word tells us that Jesus is the one who strengthens us to even be able to build wealth, like to gain wealth, to perform well. That gives us our musical gifts. Like, it's a whole thing. But y'all, faith is what will bring us out of our discouragement. Don't let what you see now kill the vision in your heart. What we see right in front of us, like, yeah, that's cool. It's real. What is in front of us is real, but the vision in our hearts is real too. It was placed there for a reason. Y'all, it takes faith to dream. Sometimes you just got to dream again. Like, there are certain things. Sometimes there are dreams that are not supposed to come to pass for a while. Like, they're not for the immediate future. Sometimes you gotta go back to the drawing board and dream for what is in the immediate future. So what are some ways that you can dream? Like some practical ways that you can dream and see what is in your heart, like make it a visual thing. Vision boards. You can do a vision board. You don't even need to go out and get all the magazines and stuff. I don't even have magazines laying around. Like, it's just way too expensive for what it is. But it is an investment though. Your time, your energy, all that. But create a vision board. You can do the physical thing with magazines, or you can use Canva and just find pictures off of Google Images and, put them together. Like that's what my friends and I have done. You can draw if you have that kind of stuff around. Look, y'all, I'm trying to help. But you can have a vision board. If you don't want to be that artsy, you can just create a list. Like create a list in your notes app or physically write it down. I think you should write it down. I think that when you write down your visions, like it's scripture, write down your vision, make it plain. It's in Habakkuk 2. Yeah, just write it down. Write it down. But you're writing what you want to see, what's been placed on your heart. Y'all, and I'm gonna give you a little key here. Your vision shouldn't just be for you. It should benefit somebody else. There should be somebody else involved in your vision at some point, somewhere on the list. There's definitely things that are just for you. But if it's not for other musicians, for artists, let it be for your family, for the people that are closest to you, whatever, your spouse. Include other people in your vision. When we build things, when we attempt to build things that are just for ourselves, it's, it gets a little dicey because we were created to be in relationship with other people. We can't live just in a silo. Solo. Yeah, those two are tied together. Yep. Just got that. But look, the things that you put on your vision board, they're possible. You can accomplish these goals that you have. But you have to believe. It takes faith to push you into that. Now I'm gonna be real. I don't believe in the manifestation. You just say it a bunch of times and you'll begin to see it. That's not how things work. It's just not. But I do know that our words are powerful. And just like we said before, your mind controls where your body goes. So if you're thinking it, let's just start here. If you create this vision board and you don't believe that what you put down is possible, you're never going to go after it. And it's not like, oh, I didn't say it enough times. No, like you told yourself a bunch of times that it wasn't possible and you believed it. And so you acted accordingly. That's how that works. So you want to make sure that your words match what you want to see. Your thoughts match what you want to see. Your actions match what you want to see. Let's use a basic example. If you want to get fit, you're not going to sit on your couch, watch TV and just be like, I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be fit. Like, I don't care how many affirmations you put at the top of your day. That's not going to work. It's not. Like, you need to put some energy, you need to put some thought like into actually making a change, making improvements. But once you have that belief within you, you're going to develop a plan. That's your next step. And you can go back and listen to the episode where we talked about, it was a 2-part episode, vision and planning, in season 1, if you're listening to the podcast, but it's just a few episodes back if you're on YouTube. But you're going to want to develop a plan to help you get there, because believing isn't enough. Faith without works is dead. You can have faith, but if you don't do anything about it, if you don't move on it, it's just a thought. Like, it's just a belief. Maybe you've already had a plan that you've written out. You've gone through these steps. Izzy, I did all this. Now what? If you've written out a plan, which is where I am, if you've written out a plan and you thought it was the perfect plan and it didn't work, go back to the drawing board, tweak some things, edit some things, run it again, in a different way, of course, but make the changes. Don't throw the whole thing away. it's possible that there was just a few steps that you didn't do all the way, right? Or just different things that didn't perform the way you wanted to because they weren't precise at where they needed to be for it to work. But I just want to encourage you, don't throw the entire thing away. Go back to the drawing board. So y'all, the 3 ways that we talked about today to beat discouragement are to recognize that you were built with the passion and the gifting to be where you are. To see, don't fix your gaze on the negative, on the bad parts, but focus on what is possible. See that it can be a real thing. And believe. You have to have faith. There's faith that is involved in this step. Like, in order to beat discouragement, you have to get rid of fear. And the opposite of fear is faith. It's the God honest truth. Y'all, I love talking through these because it's speaking to myself as well. Like, I'm here by myself in this moment, but I know that talking about this and you know, talking about the process that I'm going through to get out of discouragement is going to help you. And that's all I want. That's my hope. So thank you for sticking through these 3 points. We're constantly learning and constantly growing. So if you find something that works, if you have a thought, leave it in the comments, leave a review on the podcast, leave a comment on Instagram, whatever it is. Like, hit me, let me know. Let me know. We're in this together, guys. But as we go, I want to let you know that Unlimited Artistry is here to help you develop your musical visions and bring those things to life. So if you have an idea for a song, or if you want your album produced, you can reach out to Unlimited Artistry and get started as soon as today. We offer production services like mixing, mastering, full music production, and guitar tracking. Y'all, don't use none of these MIDI guitars on your tracks. Call us. We do electric, acoustic, all of which. Like, there's no excuses. And we're pretty affordable. So reach out, get started as soon as today. We want to help you bring that musical vision to life. But it's not the only thing we care about. My heart is to you as musical creatives. So that's why I created the Organized Creative video course. I've packaged some strategies, some tools, some tips that have helped me become more organized in my life. Like, I'm talking about time management, mindset changes, automation, like that you can use on a regular basis that'll keep you from missing stuff and forgetting people's birthdays, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's super helpful. Go visit the website. The link is in the description. You can check it out. Make your purchase today. We've made that affordable as well. But it's pretty cool. So check that out. If you've missed a deadline, if you need to get more organized, if you want to step your creativity up and maximize your creative potential and stop being just a normal disorganized creative, become an organized creative, and check out the video course today. But to stay locked in to everything else that Unlimited Artistry has for you and will have for you in the future, you can follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Artistry. You can follow me on Instagram at Izzy_Lemons. You can follow us on TikTok at Unlimited Artistry. You can visit our YouTube page. That link is in the description. Our page is called Unlimited Artistry. And you can visit the website. It's UNLMTDartistry.com. Again, that's UNLMTDartistry.com. What? That's UNL. What? MTD. What? Artistry.com. I felt a little DMX in me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get distracted. But y'all, thank you so much for tuning in and listening or watching, whichever one you were. I will see you next time.